You get back from Africa, you're home for a year, 18 months-ish.
Mm-hmm.
What was the next deployment?
So the next one, I had a pretty long break. So I got orders to go to SWIC, so it's Special Warfare Training Group. So after you spend a certain amount of time, you have to teach others something. So I was a qualified mountain guy at the time, so I went to the mountain school, which fortunately for me is right there at 10th Group as well. So I just walked across the street and I did my training tour as an instructor at the mountain school. So
did you get a lot of really cool fucking like mountaineering schools and training and shit prior to that or during or before?
No. So what's funny is the mountain skill set is really unknown because it's very small. Like we even only graduate at most like 48 guys a year. And that's like at most. That's if maxed out if everyone graduates. So really it's a little bit lower than that. But the training that you get, and this is going to sound biased, and maybe it is a little bit, but it is so friggin' good. Like when a guy goes from knowing nothing, the amount of skills and his capability when he comes back just from the first level of mountain training is incredibly high, especially by civilian standards. Like his ability to lead and set up rappels, because it's kind of like, it's an interesting skill set because not everybody on a team needs to be mountain qualified. That you need to teach them the basics, but you're really relying on the couple graduates of the course to push you through anything. You know, it's kind of as if it's as if you're a jump master and none of your guys know what they're doing. Yeah. Which I guess is kind of like static lines.
Well, maybe more like a breacher. Like you need a couple guys who really know breaching. I mean, everybody needs to know how to slap a charge up and shotgun a door, but you really only need, 2 or 3 guys that.
Exactly. Yeah. And you're putting your life on the line of that guy that knows what he's doing. Like, is his anchor set up correctly? Does he know that whatever rope system he's using has the strength, or isn't running over something that could cut it? Because literally your guys' lives are on that line that you're setting up. So there's a lot of responsibility for guys who are qualified mountain dudes. Yeah. But yeah, I would say like the mountain program is pretty stinking good.
What 2 questions. First, the actual certification. It's not qualified mountain dude. Like what is the what's the title?
Qualified mountain dude number 1. No, so it's actually changed a few times, even since I've been in. But during my the last portion of my career, we've kind of solidified where it's at. So right now, we've changed it from like levels of 1 and 2 towards seasonal. So you've got summer mountain operators, which is I'd say it's the majority of the skill set is in the summer course, because that's where you're learning the actual craft. You're learning how to place protection. You're learning pulley theory. You're learning the rope systems, all the mountain stuff that isn't ice climbing or skiing, but you're learning basically the mechanics of the entire skill set. Yeah. So that's your summer guys. And then the next portion of the course is the winter mountain operator course, which is they only run one of those a year. So I think like every year, you're only going to graduate maybe 20 guys in the entire SOCOM enterprise that are going to be at that level. Wow. So that's why it's such a small skill set that not a lot of people know about.
How long is the course?
So they're both 8 weeks long.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it possible to kind of bullet list what you're capable of for each? Like summer you can do X, 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 and X, or what? Like how do you break that down?
Yeah. So if you look at it as steep exposed terrain, so at the point in which you need a rope to facilitate, that's now where your mountain guys have to come in. And, even though we train guys at a high standard for climbing, like, hey, you need to be able to climb at this level and lead at this level, the expectation is when they apply that to a mission set is that they're not going to climb things that hard. Yeah. But they're going to climb it with boots on. They're going to do it with a pack. They're going to have a gun. They're going to have guys that are tired. They might have, indigenous guys with them. And it might be shit weather and at nighttime. Yeah. Because that's when we like to operate, is at night. So you're going to apply those stuff. It's like resistance training. You work in the hardest environment, and then operationally, you're going to use those same systems in a more difficult, I guess, a more higher consequence. So, a guy slipping and rolling his ankle on a mission, like that might be the end of your mission. Yeah. But if you can set in fixed lines and allow guys to move up without getting hurt, that's huge. So, it allows the movement of men and equipment through technical terrain that would be otherwise inaccessible.
Yeah. Okay. Is it kind of similar to, say, Halo and Hey-Ho, where the amount of training required to be proficient at it is significant, but the percentage of time that it's actually used operationally is very, very small. Like, do you find, like, what percentage are you actually using ropes and shit on real world missions?
I'd say it's probably pretty similar to that.
Yeah. So it's low.
Yeah. Although, the big difference between those things, when we look at the other specialties, we look at dive or we look at free fall, like those are, now granted, I know there's some stuff underwater that you can do that is operationally as well, but for the most part, we consider those infill platforms. Like, it gets you there, but once your boots on the ground, you're a normal team. You're doing normal team shit. Whereas the mountain skill set is a full-time operational skill set. Like, you'll be put in a mountain environment where you might be fighting guys who are in the mountains because you understand the mountains, or you might be servicing. You might have an OP that's up on a rock face or whatever, and you're going to set up a system to where your guys can get up there safely, or set up rappels for rapid egress for like a sniper team. Like, you can support something like that. So I don't think it's quite as rare because the skill set is used, like all the skills you learn in that could be used quite a bit. But like, are there guys who have done lead climbs and peeked over a rock and like smoked a guy with a freaking silent pistol or whatever? Yeah, I don't know, maybe, but not in my world that I've seen. So.
Well, it sounds like having that capability will open you up for a wider mission set also, because now it allows you access to places that without that capability you wouldn't have.
Yeah.
I guess kind of similarly to some of the hey-ho stuff, but is there a standard where, like, if you're a summer qualified graduate, that you have to be able to say lead climb at a 510A? Like, is it that specific where you've got to be able
it is by grade. So we've restructured the course quite a bit because, the mountain skill set, when we first started it wasn't even that long ago compared to the other skill sets. We didn't really have that many experts. Mm-hmm. So they said, all right, well, this is going to be very military. And when it was very military, there wasn't enough technical learning involved. And then it like swung the exact opposite direction where it's like, hey, this is very technical, it's very civilian oriented, and we leave it on the guys to add the tactical stuff when they get back to the team. Yeah. And now we've really kind of centered on like the right amount of tactical and technical knowledge to be able to apply it. We've created kind of the Swiss Army knife of the tactical mountain operator. So, when we're in the technical phase of the course, there is a requirement. You have to lead at, it was 5.7, it might be 5.6 now, but it was a 5.7. You have to be able to lead 2 other people with gear. Yeah. So with packs, multi-pitch climbs, you've got to lead the whole thing. And you're also getting tested on rescue. You're getting tested on like pulley theory. You're getting tested on like all this stuff that supports that, because like just being able to lead climb and put in pro and bring guys up something is one thing, but to be able to react if there's an issue is another one. Yeah. And we want guys who can be problem solvers, because things don't go as planned. Yeah. Ever, And we want guys who have the knowledge to be able to apply it. So
no, it makes good sense. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like a good hybrid mixing the two the way that you guys have.
Yeah.
As you guys know, health and fitness is a big part of my daily routine and my lifestyle. I have a number of guests that come on that that we talk about all sorts of things, health and fitness related, diet, nutrition, etc. I started taking Athletic Greens a few months ago here for that reason, is that it's a all-encompassing vitamin and mineral supplement, 75 vitamins and minerals. It's lifestyle friendly, whether you do keto, paleo, vegan. It's dairy-free, gluten-free, less than 1 gram of sugar. There's no GMOs or nasty chemicals. There's no artificial anything in it. And it's just very nutrient dense and gives you that supplementation that you need to combat cold and flu season coming up, to bolster your immune system and just help with a healthy lifestyle. Right now, the subscription, if you sign up for it, comes with a year's supply of vitamin D, which again is crucial to immune support, as well as 5 on-the-go packets with that first purchase. Whether you want to invest in your health or just supplement an already existing protocol that you have, Athletic Greens has been a phenomenal staple that I've added into my regimen, and I couldn't be happier to be working with them. If you want in on that deal, go to athleticgreens.com/mic drop. And they do a phenomenal job at all the things that health and fitness wise need to be done on a daily basis. So check them out. Go to athleticgreens.com/mic drop, and they will hook you up with that special deal. Are you a sport climber by hobby because of the amount of time that you've spent? Or?
Yeah, there was a time when I really got into it.
Yeah.
When I was an instructor there, I climbed a lot, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I did some sport climbing. Most was traditional climbing, but and for those who don't know the difference, sport climbing is like the route's already bolted for you. You know, it's an established route. You're going to go there and clip the bolts. Whereas traditional, you're using stuff you bring with you to put into the rocks for your own protection. So. But yeah, I got into it, and I was like pushing really hard, pushing grades. I think the hardest I'd ever climbed was I was leading like 11C.
Damn.
But I think that was definitely like at my best, hardest. I wouldn't say I could climb every 11B and 11A out there.
Yeah, but that's traditional 11Cs.
Yeah.
God damn,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
But I'd say I kind of hovered around the comfortable at 9 plus leading. Follow up to 5'11", a little bit higher than that, depending on the route.
Yeah, that's impressive.
But that's when I was like really at my prime.
Yeah.
That's before I got into ice, which is a whole other story.
Different.
I love ice.
That shit boggles my mind. I don't get it, honestly. Like, I mean, I understand the requirement operationally to have to be able to do that or understand it and traverse it if necessary or whatever. What I don't get is the hobby aspect. I really don't.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. That's like
I don't get base jumping either. So a lot of guys from our communities do a lot of shit that I don't understand.
I guess just I don't know, the thrill and the challenge.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Yeah. All right. So you spend several years there. I'm assuming that was kind of a nice break and spent some time with the family and bolster your skill sets, but you're probably itching to get back. Or?
Yeah, I would say almost on the opposite of that.
Oh, really?
It's a incredibly time intensive job. So yes, I was in Colorado. I wasn't deploying, but I was gone a lot.
Yeah.
You know, my pillow to not pillow time at home, you know, was almost 50-50. Like I'd spend probably over 200 days as an instructor just out somewhere. So my wife, she was the one who wanted me to be back on an ODA. She's like, you know, at least when you're gone, you're gone.
Yeah.
Whereas now, like, you're here and then you're gone. Like, there's not enough time for her to really get a routine.
Yeah.
So it was almost more irritating, especially when, like, I don't know, like, I don't want to say there's some animosity because I don't want to paint it like a bad picture for my wife, but like, I've had fun jobs most of my career.
Yeah.
And when you do fun shit when you're gone and your significant other is like dealing with stress and like dealing with kids, like it's hard not for them to hold that against you. Be like, you're out climbing and you're out skiing, you're in
camping and
you're in Vail and doing all this stuff you like doing. And like, I'm here with the kids, you know, and it's not like I don't think it ever like came out direct like that, but I'm sure there was part of that was felt like you're out there living
I don't doubt it.
the life you want to live, you know? So she was ready for me to be back on a team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get back on a team. Where to next?
So actually from there, I decided that I was going to put in my paperwork to be a warrant officer. Like, you know, it's going to give me more time on the team, and I don't just want to be a decision influencer. Like I want to be a decision maker. Like I want to grow a team, and I want to do that. So
fucking shot caller.
I'll be a shot caller,
Yeah.
An assistant shot caller. Yeah. So, the assistant to the assistant regional manager.
Fucking Office fan. I love it. You and I are best friends. All right. Go do karate in the garage.
Oh yeah. So I went to the course at Bragg and became a warrant, and came back to a different battalion to go take a mountain team.
Yeah.
So but still probably one of the best moves I've ever made. And like I would highly recommend to anybody that if you're going to stay in, especially in SF, is to go warrant. Like it's just like next level. It's like everything you loved about being on a team, but now you get to like manipulate and mold it just the way you want it. You know, you're looking 5 years down the road, not 6 months down the road. It just really opens your aperture, and a lot of great opportunities that come out of that. So,
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. What was the next deployment that you did?
So next one was Afghanistan.
That was 2012, 13?
So let me see. So I did 3 years as an instructor. I graduated the warrant course in 2015.
Okay.
And I think it was about within a year of getting to the team that we had gone to Afghanistan. That was my first trip to Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And I was excited about it because, you know, one of the things the special operations community understand is that your results may vary. And when you're always surrounded by guys, either from other groups or even from your own group, that have gone, like Afghanistan was still considered like, that was where you get into it. Now, granted, there were a couple years in Iraq that were like really hot, but for the most part, everybody that had a wild story, everybody that had like your multiple like, Valor Award winners. It was all Afghanistan. And I always just felt like I had missed out. I was like, man, like if I haven't gone to Afghanistan, like I'm like not as cool as these guys. Yeah. And I think we have trouble in the community with that, is that it's like, everyone, there's an expectation from the outside looking in that everybody's been in like vicious gun battles and everything. And it's like, look, man, like there's guys who left the team and maybe a month later their team got selected to be the guys who got to jump in and do some crazy kinetic raid. Like that happens all the time.
Yeah.
Guys miss out. And I just constantly felt like I had missed out on super kinetic deployments because we weren't doing Afghanistan. And
until you went there.
And boom, then we were. Yeah. And so fortunately my 2 deployments as a warrant for a team was I got to take my team to combat, twice, Afghanistan, which was just awesome. So, yeah.
So can you walk us through those deployments?
The first deployment, which I will say this is like penultimate dream deployment. One, the adversary was awesome because we were selected for a counter ISIS mission. We did really well in our pre-deployment train up. Like our team was super strong. We really displayed that we had the aptitude to do things with very little supervision and a lot of assets. So we got selected as one of 2 teams to do a counter ISIS operation in southeastern Afghanistan. So kind of right on the Pak border, where a lot of those guys were funneling in, a lot of foreign fighters and a lot of that. And the difference between fighting ISIS and fighting the Taliban, it's like, again, reaching back to my roots in the military and like putting yourself in the mind of the person you're fighting. Like, the Taliban is muddy. We've been there for such a long time. Some guys, they were there because they thought we were occupiers. Some guys were there because maybe we killed their uncle or whatever. Like there was a lot of other reasons to be Taliban. And there's also a lot of corruption with the Taliban. You might be fighting a guy who's, getting paid off by the government because he protects their poppy fields, and maybe he's related to 2 of your commandos. So like it was always super muddy fighting Taliban, and you never knew if they were going to get tipped off. You never knew. It was just muddy. ISIS, on the other hand, like everyone hated ISIS. Taliban hated ISIS. We hated ISIS. Like, and they're just such a scourge. Like they were like truly a disease. They were there purely to dominate, and like, their atrocities that they're willing to commit because of that, like they had no issues like raping, murdering, like they'd execute, someone's husband right in front of the family, and like they just horrible shit. So
was this ISIS-K technically? Or?
This was ISIS-K, yeah.
Can you kind of synopsize the distinction?
Yeah, so it's like ISIS in the Khorasan, which was like that kind of region, like just what they considered it, yeah.
So it's regionally, it's not...
It was regionally, and that's what we called them. To everyone there, it's Daesh. That's who ISIS was. But everybody hated them. Yeah. And we were working in an area that was like, it was capture the flag with ISIS. Like they would take a village, and then we would take back and re-place populace, and like we would like... So it was so rewarding to put people back in their villages, and it was also in a mountainous area too. So like all that knowledge that I gained on like what it takes to live and operate in the mountains, we got to use that offensively against guys that had to use the mountains to move into country. So it was like everything lined up, and it was, I don't know, it's just like righteous. Like it feels good to kill ISIS guys. There's no qualms about it. I'm not happy about everybody that gets killed. It'd be great if that wasn't the answer all the time, but when it's ISIS, it is the answer, and like, yeah, no qualms about it. Like,
very black.
Yeah, very black and white. Yeah, the more we kill, the better. I loved it, and we did very well with that. Yeah. But it was just such a thinking man's game, because we were at an outpost, and which was, when I say outpost, it like legitimately, not much bigger than this building. So small bombed out building that we kind of reinforced. We had a platoon of infantry guys that were attached to us, and they were kind of our security element at night. They would be up in the towers and our little sandbag towers.
How many is a platoon?
Like 30 some guys, yeah. And then, so it was those guys, and then it was, my detachment plus a couple like real close Afghans that worked with us. And then we had our commandos that stayed close at a kind of a different base. But yeah, like we were out and in it at all times. We didn't have like a big base where you could just like never be on guard, and there was no Burger King, there was none of that. Like we were in the field, which was great.
The whole time.
Towards the end, we went to a split team where I was running 6 guys who stayed in the valley for another like month or so, And then we finished the deployment like on another, not bombed out base like that, but at like an actual base.
But the majority of the deployment.
Majority of the deployment was just true cowboy, choose your own adventure, like, you know, the con-op process, you know, that, you know, generally when you're going to go on a mission, especially, you know, as it got later in the deployment, it was more and more requirements. Like, we need you to do this 30-page thing that's going to have all these things laid up, and you're going to brief it to the commander, and all the staff are going to see it, all that. Like, our concept when we first got there in that was like 5 W's written up. And sometimes it was after, hey, we did this, you know.
Yeah.
And it was great. So we had the freedom to operate, which is why we were effective. So, and we had assets, you know, we had F-16s, we had drones, and all that. But our security, our primary security was our relationship with the villagers.
Like they would give you heads up on shit that was going on.
Like, you know, we weren't able to drive around in big armored vehicles. Like, the roads were too small. So we were on ATVs and razors, and that was how we had to get around. And like, we tried the like MRAPs occasionally, but like those things would, like, a tire would drop, like break out part of the road, and it would roll over, and it's embarrassing and like incredibly intensive to roll a freaking however many ton vehicle back over. And just, so we were, and in fact, you're more vulnerable at that point too, just dicking around with that situation. So primarily we were on ATVs and razors. So when you think of how vulnerable we could be if somebody was in an alley, or if somebody was putting in like even a small IED would like toast our ATV.
Yeah.
So our ability to move throughout the area without getting messed up was directly related to the villagers' faith in us, and that we were showing them that we were there for them. So, which is something I loved. Again, like going back to, you know, enjoying being with other cultures and enjoying like taking their problems and making it my problems. It was so rewarding. And, you know, we facilitated a lot of people getting released by ISIS, or a lot of people that were like displaced, and we'd be able to set the conditions for those guys to like come back or like reunite families.
Was there any negotiation, or this was all through force?
All through force.
Yeah. One question I had I'm assuming you were the head mountain guy. Did you have other mountain qualified guys in your?
Yeah. We at the time, and again, part of the fun of being a warrant is you get to build the team, and you get to, I don't know, like make it what you want and get the right guys to the schools. So at one time, we were the most qualified mountain team in the entire regiment, probably entire special operations, because we had like 4 former instructors, like half the guys were summer mountain guys, you know, we had a bunch of winter guys too. So we had like a stacked mountain team, which was great in that environment.
Yeah.
And it wasn't great in that environment because we were like climbing up ropes and sniping dudes and stuff, but we understood how difficult it is to move in the mountains. And because of that, we were able to determine the most likely corridors, be like, hey, if a bad guy's up here, he's only going to be here for this long because, for one, there's no water up there, there's no food. And if he's going to get food and water up there, it has to come through this route. So we were able to use that to kind of develop our own intel on like, hey, here's the route lines, here's how people are getting through. If we can shut this corridor down, either through like fires or artillery, whatever, we can keep this corridor open for so long to allow this movement of friendly forces. Wow. So like we were able to really use that mountain knowledge and use it against them just by understanding what it takes to be in that environment.
It seems like, at least for Afghanistan specifically, that it would have been really, really beneficial to have like all special operations, or even just having guys like you as advisors for every fucking unit doing everything to provide that type of information. I think would be game changer.
They had these guys that I had kind of looked into it too, just because the money was just phenomenal. But they were like former team guys who would get attached to the infantry units or to like the major commands, and they would be soft advisors based off their experience.
Yeah.
You know, we had one guy that did it, and he was pretty good. He'd been a CAG guy, and then he was a CIA guy for a while. So he knew the area really well, and it was like really beneficial. Sometimes it was like, hey man, you're just an advisor, so let's just remember that. Yeah. But the other part is like, hey, I do appreciate everything you're bringing to the table.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that was a very lucrative job for guys to go do that on the civilian side. Unreasonable amount of money they were making doing that. But
I can imagine.
Yeah.